And finally, new rule, Brian Williams shouldn't have to go away because he lied. He should have to go away because the NBC Nightly News sucks. And so does the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley and the ABC World News Tonight with, I think Ken is the host of that one. But Brian Williams' lie about the helicopter, that didn't destroy his credibility with me. 10 years of wasting precious news time on bullshit stories about car chases and bears in a swimming pool and store clerks fighting back and returning soldiers surprising their kids at the big game and Powerball jackpots and that stupid fucking Smash tomato fight. That's what destroyed his credibility with me. So, I know what you're thinking. Who cares, Bill? Nobody watches broadcast news anyway. We get our news the modern way, from the video screen at the gas station. No, actually, over 9 million people watch Brian Williams every night, about 12 times more than CNN. Delivering the news is a sacred responsibility. It's telling us the important things we need to know. It shouldn't be a race to the bottom over who can attract more eyeballs with titillation. If it is, let's just get it over with and show porn in the last segment. And we're almost there. The new thing is just to show a YouTube clip that's gone viral. It's like the news brought to you by your biggest stoner friend. You know, it's not news just because you have footage of something. Do I have to see every building that's brought down by a controlled explosion? Unless it fell on my stash, I don't care. You have 22 minutes to bring us the world. How does that leave time for the 4-minute segment on the basset hound that found his way home? Here's a crazy thought. Cut the story where the high school sweethearts reunite and get married at 80, and take an extra minute to link your endless weather stories to climate change. Last year, the NBC Nightly News spent a total of 25 minutes all year on climate change, the most important issue of our time. This is journalistic malpractice. And it's why I never thought of Brian Williams as a reporter to begin with. Because every night it's the same thing on the news. A couple of minutes at the top of the big story of the day, unless, God forbid, it's going to snow. If it's going to snow on the East Coast, you know where they live. And then nothing else is happening in the entire world. Brian comes to you live from the snowblower aisle at Home Depot. Like white Godzilla is on the way. And then the same thing always happens. Nothing. It snows, they plow it, it melts, the end. Oh, the humidity. This obsession with weather on the national news is especially bizarre because if there's one thing that isn't national, it's weather. It's snowing in Buffalo? Great, but it's always snowing in Buffalo. And I don't care. I live in LA. We don't need to know about awful weather here. Awful weather here is partly sunny. Anyway, after we get through with the weather report and maybe some shots of whatever photo op the president arranged that day, it's time for the medical segment, which is usually on obesity and a great excuse to run endless footage of fat people whose faces we don't see, walking in the park, sometimes alone, sometimes holding hands with other fatties, but always giant, jiggly fat people, preferably on a park bench eating ice cream to reinforce the message, boy, these people are fat. And then they interview a doctor who says, being fat leads to obesity. Thanks, doc. And then the 22 minutes are almost up, and it's time for everyone's favorite part of the broadcast, the feel-good human interest story. Because America, you've worked hard. You've had to sit through 2, maybe 3 minutes of hard news, and you deserve a break. Something to make you think, gosh, maybe the world isn't so bad after all. So here's a story about a paraplegic ice climber who scaled a mountain A latchkey kid who ran a canned food drive to cure cancer. The pitcher who won the big game to honor his dead twin brother. A hotel that welcomes guests with rescue puppies. A Minnesota high school basketball team on a winning streak. An old black veteran who's blind, but he still drives the school bus. Yes, they're all great, heartwarming stories. And there's a place for them. It's called Reader's Digest.